Hi, students and friends. This is your host and teacher Sayyid AYAZ. You're watching Learn and Teach by Zarayaz. So I'm continuing my O-level past papers session. This time I've selected variant 22 of IGCSE, that is 0620, and it's of October-November 2024. You know, it's paper 2 multiple choice extended version. We have 45 minutes for this paper. There are 40 questions in this paper. You can use calculator. Total mark for this paper is 40. Your table will be provided to you. Any rough working should be done on this paper. So let's start the paper. Here's question number 1. Oxygen melts at minus 219 degrees centigrade and boils at minus 183 degrees centigrade. At which temperature is oxygen a liquid? So that temperature must be between 200 minus 219 and minus 183, and we have only one temperature that is between these, and that is B. So B must be the right response for this MCQ. MCQ number 2, the pressure of a sample of gas decreases. The temperature is kept constant, which row describes the effects on the particles. Now, if you increase the pressure of a sample of gas, what will happen to the movement of particles? There will be no change in speed if temperature is kept constant. And as you have decreased the pressure, which means that the particles are moving away. So the collision between particles will occur less often or less frequently. C must be the right response in this case. Moving to next MCQ, which is 3. Rubidium has two isotopes, that is RB85 and RB87. Which statement explains why both isotopes have the same chemical properties? You know that the chemical properties are related to the electronic configuration of same number of electrons in the valence shell. So in this case, B must be the right answer. All the other choices are incorrect. That is, they have the same number of protons. This is not related to chemical property. This is incorrect. They have different number of neutrons. This is related to physical property. They have different mass number. Again, this is related to neutrons, not chemical properties. MCQ number 4. Which pair of elements react to form a compound with a strong attraction between oppositely charged ions? So we'll look at the choices. First, we'll check which of these have metal and non-metal. So in choice A, we have both as non-metals. So choice A is incorrect. Straight away. What about B? Carbon and nitrogen. Again, this is also non-metal. So this is also incorrect. 4. Sorry, C. Sodium and oxygen. It's a metal and non-metal. We have metal and non-metal. So this must be the right answer. For convenience, I'm checking the last statement. Sodium and potassium, both are metals. Also incorrect. Moving to next MCQ. 4 substances P, Q, R, and S are described. P is diatomic. Q is a good conductor of electricity when solid and when molten. R is a silver solid with a very high melting point. S reacts with oxygen to form a brown gas. Which substances are metals? Now, P is diatomic. It means it must be a non-metal. We have in the periodic table non-metals, especially group 7 elements, they all are non-metals. So this must be non-metal. What Q? Q is a good conductor of electricity when solid and when molten. So it can be metal. R is the silver solid with a very high melting point. This can also be a metal. What about S? S reacts with oxygen to form brown gas. It's producing gas, which means it must be a non-metal. So Q and R, C must be the right answer in this case. Number 6. Which diagram shows the covalent bonding in a molecule of carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide, it forms double covalent bonds with 2 oxygen atoms. This is the formula of carbon dioxide. So C must be the right answer. We have double bonding between each oxygen atom with this carbon. So C must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 7. The bonding structure and melting point of sodium chloride and sulfur dichloride are shown. Why does sodium dichloride have a lower melting point than sodium chloride? Now, it's for sure the sodium chloride, it's an ionic compound because it contains ionic bonding. And looking at the details of bonding, structure, and melting point, it's an ionic. And sulfur dichloride is covalent. Now they are asking the reason. So they are saying in A, the covalent bonds sulfur are weaker than the attractive force between molecules. We don't have molecules in sodium chloride, so this is incorrect. B, the covalent bonds sulfur are weaker than the ionic bonds in sodium chloride. This is also not the reason. It's related to the intermolecular force or the attractive force. So D must be the right statement. The attractive force between molecules of sulfur dichloride are weaker than the ionic bonds in sodium chloride. So this must be the right statement. For your convenience, I'm reading the C. The attractive forces between molecules of sulfur dichloride are weaker than the attractive forces between molecules of sodium chloride. This is incorrect. We don't have molecules in sodium chloride. So the attractive forces between molecules of sodium sulfur dichloride are weaker than the ionic bonds in sodium chloride. So D must be the right statement. Number 8. Diamond and graphite have giant covalent structures of carbon atoms. Which statement describes graphite? A. It has a strong, rigid, three-dimensional structure. It does not have a rigid structure. It's soft. B. It has 4 strong covalent bonds between each carbon atom. This is correct. It does not have 4 strong covalent bonds. Instead, it forms 3 strong covalent bonds between each carbon atom. So this is also incorrect. C. It has layers which can slide over each other. This statement looks correct to me. For convenience, I am reading the last statement. It has no delocalized electrons. It has delocalized electron, and it's written, so it does not conduct electricity. It do conduct electricity. This is also incorrect. So C must be the right statement in this case. Moving to next MCQ, which is number 9. Which row explains the malleability and electrical conductivity of a solid metal? Malleability. Malleability is the ability to change structure or hammer into different shapes. So it is due to the reason that rows of positive ions can slide over each other. So both C and D is correct. A and B is incorrect because in A and B, it's written delocalized electrons can move freely through the structure. This is related to the conductivity, not to the malleability of the metal. Now let's see this C and D, electrical conductivity. Delocalized electrons can move freely through the structure. This is correct. Positive ions can move freely through the structure. This is incorrect. So C must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 10. The equation for the decomposition of ammonium carbonate NH4 whole twice CO3 is shown. Here's a decomposition. You see the products are ammonia, carbon dioxide, and water. MR of ammonium carbonate is given. The total volume of gas produced is 360 centimeter cube at RTP. Which mass of ammonium carbonate NH4 whole twice CO3 is decomposed? Now they are asking the mass. If we will be able to calculate the moles of ammonium carbonate, then we can easily convert this moles into mass. First of all, we need to convert the total volume of the gas produced. They are saying total volume of the gas produced, which means both the volume of ammonia and carbon dioxide included here. So let's convert these into moles. You know that at RTP, it's 24,000 centimeter cube. Is a volume owned by 1 mole of any gas. Therefore, 360 centimeter cube owns X moles. To the cross, you will get X is equal to 360 divided by 24,000. Let's calculate this. 360 divided by 24, 0.015 mole. 0.015 mole. These are the moles of ammonia and carbon dioxide all together. Now let's calculate the moles of ammonium carbonate using these moles. So we have ammonia, which is 2 moles, plus carbon dioxide, which is 1 mole, produced from 1 mole of ammonium carbonate. So I'm writing 2 plus 1, 3 moles, produced from 1 mole. Therefore, 0.015 moles will be produced from X mole of ammonium carbonate to the cross, and X is equal to 0.015 divided by 3. 0.015 divided by 3, 0.005 moles. So 0.005 moles simply multiplied by the MR, which is 96 here. So the mass is equal to 0.005 multiplied by 96. 0.005 multiplied by 96. 0.48 grams. So B must be the right answer in this case. 11. What is the empirical formula of a compound that contains 3.66 grams of hydrogen, 37.8 grams of phosphorus, and 58.5 grams of oxygen? So we have hydrogen, phosphorus, and oxygen. The mass of oxygen is hydrogen is 3.66, phosphorus is 337.8, oxygen is 58.5. The first step, we need to divide it by AR of these. For hydrogen, AR will be 1. For phosphorus, it's 31. For oxygen, it's 16. So for hydrogen, we will get 3.66. For phosphorus, 37.8 divided by 31, 1.219. 1.219. For oxygen, 58.5 divided by 16, 3.656. 3.656. So this must be the smallest number here. So we need to divide all of these by 3.65. Sorry, let me do this again. 1.219 is the smallest number. 219. The phosphorus will get 1. For hydrogen and oxygen, we will get same answer, that is 3. In both the cases, we will get 3. So H3PO3, H3PO3, C must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 12, aqueous copper 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using graphite electrodes. Which row identifies the product and observations at each electrode during the electrolysis? So at anode, you will definitely get oxygen. You are not going to get copper. So either A is correct or D is correct. Both B and C is incorrect. What about the observation? At anode, observation bubbles of gas. That's correct. Cathode, the product is copper. This is correct. Observation, electrode turns pink. This looks correct to me. For your convenience, I'm checking the last choice. We have oxygen, bubbles of gas, and electrode dissolves. This is incorrect. So no need to check the cathode. And cathode is also incorrect. So A must be the right answer in this case. All the other choices are incorrect. Moving to next MCQ. Molten sodium chloride is electrolyzed using inert electrodes. Which row shows the product formed at the cathode and anode? Now, if you are having molten sodium chloride, you will be having only two ions present in the solution. One is Na plus and other will be Cl minus. Na plus will definitely move toward cathode and will be deposited as molten sodium. What about anode? At anode, the chloride and ion will move and will be deposited as chlorine gas. So D must be the right choice here. 14. The equation for the formation of ammonia is shown. The reaction pathway diagram for the reaction is shown. So they gave us the activation energy and total energy released here. Total energy release indicates that it's an exothermic. What is the enthalpy change for the reaction? So we need to calculate the enthalpy change. What we will do is subtract this 250 from 342. So 342 minus 250 and you will get 92. And sign must be minus because it's exothermic reaction. So B must be the right answer in this case. Move to next MCQ, which is 15. Sulfur dioxide is converted to sulfur trioxide in the contact process. The conditions used are 450 degrees centigrade and 200 kilopascal with a vanadium 5 oxide catalyst. Which row describes and explains the effect of changing conditions on the rate of reaction? Now they are saying effect of changing conditions on the rate of reaction. If no catalyst is added, what will happen to the rate? Will it lower the rate and the activation energy is higher? This statement looks correct to me because the requirement for the activation energy will be higher in the absence of catalyst, and the effect on rate will be that it gets lower. For the convenience, I'm looking at the other choices also. What will happen if you increase the pressure? Effect on rate, higher rate, the particles have more kinetic energy. Now, this is correct. Higher pressure will definitely increase the rate, but this is incorrect. This is not related to the kinetic energy. This won't increase the kinetic energy of the particles. In fact, particles comes closer to each other, there will be more collision. That's why the rate becomes higher. This is incorrect. C, lower temperature, effect on rate lower. This is correct. The lower temperature, what happens? What about the explanation? The particles collide more frequently. This is incorrect. Particles collide less frequently. This is also incorrect. What about the last one? Lower pressure. Effect on rate higher. This is incorrect. There are more particles per unit volume. Sounds good. So A must be the right answer in this case. Moving to next MCQ. Hydrogen gas reacts with iodine gas to form hydrogen iodide gas in an equilibrium reaction. Here's an equilibrium reaction. We have gases on the reactant side as well as on the product side. Delta H indicates that this is an endothermic reaction because the sign of delta H is positive. Which changes increase the yield of HI at equilibrium? Now I want to increase the yield of HI at equilibrium. What if I will add catalyst? It won't increase the yield of HI at equilibrium. It will only increase the rate of reaction. So one is incorrect. If one is incorrect, so either A or B, both are incorrect. So either C is correct or D is correct. Fine. Now number 2, adding more hydrogen gas. Yes, if you add more hydrogen gas, you can increase the yield of HI because this will shift the equilibrium to the right hand side or the product side. So we'll have more HI. So this is correct. 3, increasing the pressure. If you increase the pressure, it has no effect on the direction of equilibrium. The reason is that you have same number of moles. Same number of moles or volume of gases. Number of moles or volume of gases on either side of the equation. Reaction. 4, increase in the temperature. Now, what will happen if you increase the temperature? It will shift the equilibrium to the endothermic side. So we have forward direction is endothermic. So definitely it will increase the yield of HI. So 2 and 4 must be the right answer. D is the right choice for MCQ number 16. Other choices are incorrect. Number 17, the equation for the reaction of carbon with carbon dioxide is shown. You see the reaction of carbon with carbon dioxide produces carbon monoxide. This is carbon monoxide. Which row identifies a carbon atom that is reduced and its change in oxidation number? Now you have to identify the carbon which is reduced here. Then you have to also have to mention the change in oxidation number. So first of all, you should know the oxidation number of carbon. Carbon should be 0. It's not carrying any charge. What about carbon in CO2? So in CO2, it's attached to oxygen. See, oxygen is in group 6. Here's oxygen. So it must have -2 as its oxidation number. So I will take X for carbon plus, we have 2 atoms of oxygen, -2. No charge means 0. So X minus 4 is equal to 0 or X is equal to +4. So here carbon is carrying +4. Now what will happen on the product side? That is carbon monoxide. CO. Again, you will take X, oxygen -2 is equal to 0 or X equal to +2. So the change in oxidation number from carbon to carbon monoxide indicates that it is oxidized, not reduced. This is oxidized. The reason is that the change is increase in oxidation number or state. Increase in oxidation number. What about carbon dioxide to carbon monoxide? Oxidation number decrease in oxidation number. So it's reduced. So you write reduced because decrease in oxidation number. So atom that is reduced, carbon and CO2. That's correct. Either A is correct or B is correct. C and D is incorrect. And the change +2 to +4 to +2. B must be the right answer for this MCQ. Into next MCQ, which is 18. Aqueous iron 2 sulfate is added to acidified potassium magnate 7. The purple color of the potassium magnate 7 disappears. Aqueous potassium iodide is added to acidified potassium magnate. Potassium dichromate 6. A dark brown solution forms. Which row identifies the role of the iron 2 sulfate and the potassium dichromate in these reactions? Potassium magnate, you know that it's an oxidizing agent. And if it is reacted to reducing agent, it will definitely undergo the change in color. And the change in color indicates that's definitely reacted to reducing agent. So iron 2 sulfate is a reducing agent here. So iron 2 sulfate is a reducing agent. Either C is correct or D is correct. Both A and B is incorrect. What about potassium dichromate? Potassium iodide, we know it's a reducing agent. If it is reacted to an oxidizing agent, it will give dark brown solution due to the formation of iodine. Due to formation of iodine, that is I2. So acidified potassium dichromate must be oxidizing agent. So D must be the right answer in this case. C is incorrect. Moving to next MCQ. Number 19. Which row shows the difference between a weak acid and a strong acid? Weak acid never dissociate fully. It will dissociate partially, and strong acid dissociate fully. So D must be the right answer in this case. No need to look at the other choices. 20. Which substance turns methyl orange red? So it will turn to red by acid. Acids. So B must be the right answer in this case. 21. Which row describes zinc oxide and calcium oxide? Zinc oxide is amphoteric, so either C is correct or D is correct. A and B is incorrect. Calcium oxide, calcium is a metal, so which means it's a metal oxide. So metal oxides are basic with the exception of zinc oxide, aluminum oxide, and lead oxide. So D must be the right answer in this case. Which row shows the properties of a transition element? Here we are having transition element between group 2 and group 3. We know that they can be used as catalyst, the color of the oxide. They will have colored oxide, that is colored compound, the electrical conductivity good. So in this case, A must be the right answer. The choices are incorrect because in B, what they are saying, catalyst, they are used as catalyst, this is correct. Color oxide green, this is also correct. And electrical conductivity is poor, which is wrong. As they are metals, so they definitely have good electrical conductivity. For C and D, simply C, and D you see the catalyst, not used as catalyst. These all choices are incorrect. No need to look at the color and electrical conductivity. 23. Fluorine is element at the top of group 7 of the periodic table. Which statement describes fluorine? Here's fluorine. So group 7. We have fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, statine, and tennessine. Now fluorine, it's a light yellow gas. Remember, it exists as gas at RTP. And it's a diatomic. It's a non-metallic. So you have only one statement as true, it's C, which is C here. All the other statements are incorrect. In A, it's written it's inert, which is incorrect. Inert means unreactive. It's not unreactive, it's highly reactive. B, it is monatomic. No, it exists as diatomic. In fact, all the elements of group 7, they all are diatomic. D, it's a solid at room temperature. It is also incorrect because it is gas at RTP, room temperature pressure. 24. When aluminum is placed in dilute hydrochloric acid, there is no reaction. When zinc is placed in dilute hydrochloric acid, bubbles of gas are immediately given off. Which statement correctly explains these observations? What they are saying in A, aluminum is coated with a layer of aluminum oxide. This seems correct to me because aluminum do form a layer of aluminum oxide. So this statement looks correct to me. For a convenience, I am looking at the other statement. so that we confirm this answer. B, aluminum is more reactive than hydrogen. This statement is correct, but the observations has nothing to do with this. This is not due to the reason of this, because it should react. Aluminum, if it's more reactive than hydrogen, should react. They are saying there's no reaction, so this is incorrect. C, aluminum is less reactive than zinc. This is incorrect. Aluminum is more reactive than zinc. D, zinc is less reactive than hydrogen. This is also incorrect because zinc is more reactive than hydrogen. So A must be the right answer in this case. 25. Which statements about the use of sacrificial protection to prevent iron from rusting are correct? 1. A more reactive metal than iron is used as a sacrificial protector because it undergoes reduction before iron. So if you are having more reactive metal than iron, it can be used as a sacrificial protector because it undergoes reduction. They are saying reduction. It won't undergo reduction. Instead, it will undergo oxidation. So 1 is incorrect. So if 1 is incorrect, so A and B is also incorrect. Either C is correct or D is correct. Let's see statement number 2. Zinc is used as a sacrificial protector because it gains electrons more readily than iron. No, it loses electrons. It's also incorrect. So 3 and 4 must be correct. So D must be the right answer. I'm reading the statement. Copper is used as a sacrificial protector because it is less reactive than iron. It's not used. Sorry, it's not used. This is correct. Magnesium is used as sacrificial protector because it loses electrons more readily than iron. This is also correct. So D is the right answer in this case. All the other choices are incorrect. 26. Aluminum is extracted from its ore by electrolysis. What is the role of cryolite in this process? The cryolite is added to reduce the operating temperature, as well as it increases the conductivity, can even have acts as a solvent. So we have A, to lower the operating temperature. It must be the right statement. For convenience, I'm reading the other statements. To lower the boiling point of bauxite. Incorrect. It's not used to lower the boiling point, it's used to lower the melting point. C, to raise the melting point of bauxite. No, it's used to decrease the lower the melting point of bauxite. To act as a catalyst, not used as a catalyst. So A must be the right answer in this case. Which row identifies 2 greenhouse gases and 3 processes by which they contribute to 2 greenhouse gases and 3 processes by which they contribute to global warming. So 2 greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane. Yeah, either A is correct or C is correct. Both B and D is incorrect. Let's see in A. 3 process, absorption, creation, reflection of thermal energy. A is incorrect. C must be the right answer in this case because they are absorb, emission, and reflection of thermal energy. This is correct. This one is correct. That's why C is the right choice here. 28. Which mixture contains all of the elements in a typical NPK fertilizers? What is NPK fertilizers? N for nitrogen, P for phosphorus, K for potassium. Well, let's see the choices. Ammonium nitrate, we are having nitrogen. Calcium phosphate, we have only nitrogen and phosphorus here, so A is incorrect. B, ammonium phosphate, nitrogen and phosphorus, potassium chloride. B seems correct to me. For a convenience, I'm checking the other choices. C, potassium nitrate, will get K and N. Ammonium chloride, will get only N here. This is also incorrect. D, potassium carbonate, we have K here. ammonium nitrate, we are getting N from here. So B must be the right answer. We have ammonium phosphate and potassium chloride. They will be responsible and act as a typical NPK fertilizer. That is, they provide nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. 29. Bromine reacts with butene. What is the displayed formula of the product of this reaction? Now, if bromine reacts with butene, will definitely, this is the displayed formula of butene. These are the hydrogen attached. So if bromine is reacted, this is Br, Br, the product must be addition product, that is bromine will be added to this. What we will get? We will get dibromo ethane. This one must be dibromo ethane. Remember, the bromine will get attached to two adjacent carbon atoms, and that must be 2 and 3. You can't have bromine attached to carbon atoms that are the last or the first one in this chain, or it will not get attached to both the bromine atoms to the same carbon atom, as well as there won't be difference between the carbon atoms having bromine atoms attached to it. So A, B, and D are incorrect. Only C seems correct here. C must be the right answer here. That fulfills the criteria that bromine will be added to two adjacent carbon atoms. That is 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 2-butene. See, butene. 30. Which statement is correct? A. Bitumen is used as a fuel for ship. This is incorrect. Bitumen is not used as a fuel for ship. B. Coal, natural gas, and oxygen are all fuels. This is also incorrect. Oxygen is not used as a fuel. Oxygen helps in burning or helps in combustion. C. Hydrogen is the main constituent of natural gas. This is also incorrect. Only D must be the right answer for MCQ number 30. I'm reading the statement. Petroleum is separated into useful substances by fraction distillation. This is correct. 31. Which statement explains why ethanoic acid is saturated? So it means saturated means contain carbon-carbon single bond. So C must be the right answer. In this case, all the other choices are incorrect. In A, what they are saying, the molecule dissociates completely in water. This is incorrect. B, there's a carbon-oxygen double bond in the molecule. This is also incorrect. We don't have any carbon-oxygen double bond here. In D, all the carbon-hydrogen bonds in the molecule are single bond. This is not related to the term saturated. Saturated means carbon-carbon single bond. C is the right answer. Which statement about compounds in the same homologous series is correct? They have the same chemical properties because they have the same number of carbon atoms. This is incorrect. Same chemical properties related to the functional group, not to the same number of carbon atoms. So it's incorrect. B, they have the same physical properties because they have the same number of carbon atoms. This is also incorrect. They don't have any same physical properties. The physical properties are different. They won't have same number of carbon atoms. See, they have different chemical properties because they have different number of carbon atoms. This is also incorrect. As I told you, it's related to the functional group. D must be the right answer. They have different physical properties because they have different number of carbon atoms. This must be the right statement. Carbon atoms, the number of carbon atom increases, the physical property also changes. That is, they will be increased in melting point and boiling point. 33. Which row shows the properties of methane? Is it soluble in water? No, it's not soluble in water. So either A is correct or B is correct. C and D is incorrect. What about the state at room temperature? It exists as gas at room temperature. So both A and B are correct in this. What about it gives a positive test for aqueous bromine? No, it does not give a positive test with aqueous bromine because it does not contain carbon-carbon double bond. Carbon-carbon double bond. So A must be the right answer in this case. MCQ number 34. The table shows two methods used to make ethanol. Which statement gives an advantage of preparing ethanol by fermentation rather than by adding steam to ethene? Now they are saying, look for the statement which gives an advantage of preparing ethanol by fermentation rather than by adding steam to ethene. A, fermentation takes several days to complete. This can't be the advantage, as taking more time. This can't be the advantage. B, little energy is used in the fermentation. This looks correct to me. For convenience, I'm checking the next two statements. The fermentation of glucose from sugar cane produces pure ethanol. The fermentation, we are not getting pure ethanol. This is incorrect. We will also get carbon dioxide here. D, fermentation uses non-renewable raw material. Fermentation uses renewable raw material. This is also incorrect. So B must be the right answer in this case. 35. Which equation represents an addition reaction? Remember, in addition reaction, we will get only one product when two reactants are joined. So we have only one reaction that seems to be addition. In this case, A must be the right answer. All the other choices are incorrect. They are not examples of addition reactions. Not addition reactions. 36. The structure of a part of a polymer is shown. How many amide and ester linkages are included in the structure shown? Amide linkage, this is amide linkage. One amide linkage. Two amide linkage. So we have two amide linkage, so either C is correct and D is correct. A and B is incorrect. What about ester linkages? We have only one ester linkage in the structure. So C must be the right answer for MCQ number 36. 37. Which structure represents part of a protein? Remember, part of a protein must have amide linkage. That's from one point. Second point, repeat unit. Must have NH and at one end and C double bond O at the other end. So A seems to be the right answer. In this case, other choices are incorrect. Because you see, we have amide linkage. This is the amide linkage. And repeat unit must have NH. We have NH. And C double bond O at the other end. So A must be the right answer in this case. Other choices are incorrect. 38. Which piece of apparatus can only measure a single fixed volume? So we need to use a apparatus for a fixed volume. So it must be volumetric pipette. D. Other choices are incorrect. 39. Pure solid copper 2 nitrate can be obtained from a mixture of copper 2 nitrate and copper powder. Three stages in the method are listed. X, add water and stir. Y, crystallize. Z, filter. After the three stages, the copper 2 nitrate is washed and dried. What is the correct order of stages? X, Y, and Z to obtain pure solid copper 2 nitrate from the mixture. We have to add water, then stir. So it must be the first step. So either A is correct or B is correct. C and D is incorrect. In the next step, you have to filter. So we will have X, Z, then Y, crystallize. B must be the right answer in this case. Going to last question, which is 40. Which row describes the test and the observation for aqueous sulfate ion? Aqueous sulfate ion can be tested by adding dilute nitric acid and barium nitrate, and for the observation, it will form white precipitate. So we have only one choice as a correct response here. All the other choices are incorrect. Thanks for watching. Press like and share my videos. For more videos, subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon.